Previously on Tales of Aslyria, the two groups entered the dining hall and split off, with David and Sophie going to see the Everetts, and Elchrist and Linus to visit the inductees. The group decides they will help the Everetts, and they confirm this. But the Everetts say it's only if necessary. And then we learn who they are seated with.
No worries at all. We will find our way to our place.
I was going to say, we'd love to be introduced.
Yeah, Sean, we would love to be introduced to your table.
Of course. We have Cedric here. He is the mage librarian. We have Mercer. Mercer is, I'm sure you've heard of the Mercer's Extravagant Emporium. He is the owner and provider.
Fantastic.
Bertie, obviously you've met Bertie.
Oh, yes.
And then this is Richard Sillellen. He is the son of the king. Well, it was such a pleasure. If you don't mind, we're going to get ready for the meal. I think Captain Longman was taking you to a table.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's so nice to meet everyone. Enjoy the festivities.
And they all give you a nice little half bow at their seat.
Yes, I can tell when I've been dismissed.
Gideon then leads Linus and Elchrist to the inductees table, where they learn why there are so few inductees this year. You can sit here. I'm needed with the king. That's where I'm supposed to sit, is next to him. So if you don't mind, I'll be going there.
Before you head off, can I ask, why are there less inductees this year?
Well, I mean, ever since, that fateful 7 years ago, the inductees have just gotten less and less, and the school's just being more picky about who we induct. So
how do you choose who to induct?
Well, we typically will take the brightest kids of their region and, see who's interested. Not all end up being interested. Sometimes we do have to settle because we want to keep inducting people. But yes, we have about 6.
And we've met 3 already, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from our travels on the ship earlier.
The trumpet sounds and the king comes in with the general and the high mage coming up to sit next to him. You notice that there is an empty seat next to him, typically where Queen would sit, but it's empty. And then you see Gideon seated at his right, and then the high commander of the Avalon army seated next to the empty seat, and that's who's at the head table. And the king stands up. The king's name is James Sillellen. So King James stands up. Welcome, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you. I hope you enjoyed the entertainment. At that, everybody erupts in applause. The Andys all do a little march step as they step back into kind of their stationary post next to the walls. And then he does a little high clap as the waiters bring in all of the food. Linus asks if something is wrong with Elchrist, and Elchrist then decides to have a secret conversation about what has actually been going on.
Gideon do something strange with his face.
The two of you had this strange moment. It seemed like something came over you.
All right, I need to talk to you about something.
Finally.
Oh, that was strange. I guess not everyone can know about that. Anyway, David and Sophie meet the people at their table.
Sean, we don't know who to talk to.
What do you want us to do here, man?
I don't know. You're seated with Captain Longwind. There's a couple other merchant shops. You've got let me see. There's another inn that you guys had an option to go to. You both meet Georgia and Eddie. They're a halfling couple. They own the Copper Bottom Inn, which is in the lower middle class district there on the map. So that's where they are. There is a elf thieves guild owner. He runs the thieves guild at the docks area. There's a few other just kind of random shopkeepers and things.
Did you say that the Thieves Guild guy is just at this banquet?
Yep, that's what I said.
He goes by Gary.
Gary
Mugsworth.
Incredible.
Okay, great.
All right, so we're not gonna talk to Gary now because we don't want to out ourselves, but we're gonna know about Gary later.
David then wants to meet the Andy 2.0s.
So I try to introduce myself to the Andy. Hello, Andy. My name is David.
Good evening. How can I help you?
Tell me about yourself. Is this a job for you, or how did you become a part of this organization?
I was created by my maker.
Who's your maker?
My maker is Architect Prime.
You were made by Architect Prime.
But David and Sophie pushed the Andy to a breaking point. You notice a flicker in his eyes as you see him questioning why is this person asking so many questions? And you see a slight flicker as his eyes shift from blue to red and back to blue. Hello, my name is Andy. How can I assist you?
Andy, it was so nice to meet you. I was wondering if anything over here was sugar-free.
David then goes and secretly gets the sigil to prove he can converse with authority, and the two reapproach the Andy.
Why would anyone in this era know what sugar-free desserts are?
Come on,
We don't have Splenda.
Also, you're asking a robot who has no sense of taste.
Okay, this was not a dumb question, guys. If his job is
They're there to serve. They should know what they have to serve.
Thank you, Elchrist. He's there to serve and to man the dessert table. He's meant to tell people with the dietary restrictions which things are meant for them. That's the whole purpose of
We are in
these things.
a culture that doesn't have those things.
No, that? This is our, we're making this episode.
Every culture has dietary restrictions. No place is perfect.
Anyway, Andy, I found my clearance. Does this help us get to know where it is that you go when you're not here?
They then try to get the Andy to leave their post to take them to where they're stored, and it almost goes pretty poorly.
And we're just going to be looking at those desserts.
Yeah, we just surreptitiously
piling on the things. You got that armband in the way.
Yeah, they do not notice anything. A little confused. You see the king lean over to Gideon, whisper something. You can't tell what he says, but they both kind of look over. And Gideon snaps his fingers. One of the guard comes over. They point towards that Andy robot, and you see that the guard goes and escorts that Andy out of the Great Hall.
I cast Mage Hand and stuff John's face in his plate. From behind, so he doesn't know if he just feels a hand on his head, pushes his hand into his plate.
Hopefully it's a big pile of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And gravy.
Hot, steaming gravy.
Hot
It's gonna
gravy.
scar his face.
Elchrist notices that all the inductees have heard of him, which he finds to be a little strange and concerning.
Oh, have you guys heard of me before? What do you know of me?
What do you mean?
Well, you all seem to react to my name. Is that a name you've heard before?
And she looks at you and she goes, I don't know why, but I just have this weird feeling like I know your name, and I don't know why.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I heard it earlier today.
Today?
Yeah.
What have you been up to, Elizabeth, since you left the boat?
Nothing. I mean, we got settled at the Copper Bottom Inn, and then we were just waiting outside of the castle until the event. We just had some snacks. All the inductees were kind of just hanging out there. And now that you mention it, I feel like as we were coming in, that's when I heard it. And then you see a couple other kids. Yeah, they then learned that some revere Gideon as a savior during the first attack. And Linus, being frustrated about this, heads to the bathroom to learn what Edgar had heard at the table. He then has a conversation with Phyllis, a human kitchen worker, and decides to set up a meeting. Actually, I just had to take a quick restroom break. I actually need to head back to the kitchen and get to work.
Oh, Phyllis, I actually have quite an interest in baking myself. I'd be so curious to see the operation that you've created. Would I be able to, I don't know, come see how the sausage gets made?
Still in the stall or outside the stall?
Still in the stall. It's important that she does not see me yet, because right now I don't think people trust my form.
Yeah, of course. We could definitely meet up if you're interested in learning some baking tips. I'm willing to share those. Come by after dinner.
Before I leave the stall, can I also just say, so did you learn to bake it at home from your mom?
I learned to bake at home and here. I was here pretty much every day and on the weekends, so I got to learn firsthand.
Are you from here?
Yes.
So based on her being from here, I can assume her race is one of a couple, because it's a city, so there's a mix. Yes?
Yeah, she's human.
She's human.
Yep.
So in that moment, I think I'm going to put my hat on and become a human, because she has not seen me yet. I'm going to become a middle-aged, think like what's her face? I don't know, a Mrs. Claus-esque type, but like in her 40s, like a very like trustworthy face. Like you're like, oh,
I turned into Mrs.
Are
Claus.
you talking like Mrs. Claus from like the Santa Claus 2 kind of Mrs. Claus then?
no, she's too hot. I want like a painting of Mrs. Claus.
Okay, I got you. I'll-
Like librarian style,
Yes.
matron friendly.
Yep. So I still have Edgar, and you're like, okay, quirky, but
Yeah,
you
like a quirky
just
little
trust her.
Okay, so you both come out of the stalls. You're washing your hands.
Yep.
What was your name? I didn't catch your name.
Clarissa.
Clarissa.
Yeah.
Well, it is a pleasure. Just come around back after dinner and I can show you some tips.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was lovely to meet you, Phyllis. Thank you for being there for me in my verbal distress.
The king is then called away, but Linus is nowhere to be found when the group is being called. And then he's looking around the room for Linus, but he doesn't see Linus. So Longman goes over. Elchrist, where's your wife?
She had to depart early. She had business to do back at the hotel.
Okay, well, you need to go get her. The king wants to have an audience with the four of you. So you have, yes, remember from the ship
Oh, that's right.
to discuss.
Oh, the
Oh, yeah.
captain was with us.
Huh?
Oh, the captain was meeting with
The king.
No, the king wanted to meet with us.
Okay.
Understand what happened to his prisoner that was killed on the ship. Since
Yes.
you have primary witnesses.
Do I hear this?
Well, you see Longwind. He was pointing to the two at the table, and then you see him kind of looking around. So you're kind of clocking that he's probably looking for you, and goes and talks to Elchrist. Do you do anything, Linus?
Yeah, I can go to the bathroom and take my hat off. Pretend I was in there for a very long time.
Okay. So you come out.
Apologies, my wife couldn't find the sugar-free dessert and had some stomach pain that she had to take care of.
Oh, no matter. Okay. So he says, if you guys wouldn't mind, there's a bench up here by the back door. If you wouldn't mind sitting there, the king has some stuff that he wants to discuss before you guys come in. So everybody's departing from the dining hall. You all go sit back by the back door. There's a guard there with you. And then one of the guards looks over, tells him, hey, bring him in like 30 minutes. Just give them a few minutes to discuss matters. Both the ladies went to the restroom to discuss what they had learned.
Linus, before we go back out, I also share with Linus that for future things, I can have a 10-minute window where I can speak with animals. And so that can be a way that we can communicate information as needed on a limited basis in future stuff.
Yeah, because Edgar.
But we also need to figure out some way that we can talk in front of people and share information without them knowing.
And I think I'm going to share too. I'm recognizing how little my kind are trusted. And so if you see me as Clarissa, just know I'll be back and forth.
After some time, they returned. They are then brought into the king's war chamber, where they're probably brought in a little too soon and end up hearing some things that maybe they weren't supposed to. The king is angry and demanding the siege of a gem tower. So about 30 minutes passed, and you are brought into the war chamber room, which was on the other side of the great hall there. And you see an angry king yelling, we need this tower. I don't care what you have to do, secure it now. You see the king's son lean against a pillar, whittling a piece of wood. The king and four members of his court around a table with Gideon seated on his left. Longwind is with a guard near a pillar opposite of the son. And the Andes are stationed in kind of a group in the back of the room. And as you are brought in, the door clinks shut. All eyes turn towards you. What do you do?
We first,
We
do
just-
the
we bow.
we courtesy, we bow, we give the proper royal greeting.
I said it was not to be disturbed. Who the fuck are these for? This is a
Whoa.
close meeting.
That's not the worst part.
A guard leans over and mentions who you are. I see. My apologies. Welcome you four. I hear we have some gratitude to show for you, what you have done. Court, if you would not mind, I need to speak with these four on some urgent matters. May we have the room, please? The king, his son, Gideon, Captain Longwind, and Jared are seated in front of the group and asks what you know of the attack on the ship. From what I understand, my ship was carrying a prisoner that my Kingsguard was instructed to bring straight here, and somebody somehow snuck aboard the ship and killed him, and then you killed them. So I would like to know.
King James, if I may interject, what you just explained is far more than we had information, or than we knew at the time of the attack. Honestly, we, as you know, my wife and I were part of the attacks way back when. We're still quite shell shocked. So when we see someone under attack or some people under attack, we act. And so when we saw someone attacking some group of what appeared to be, I don't know, pirates or strangers on board starting to attack people, we fight back. You can understand that and everything we've been through. Your High Mage Gideon was similarly in those attacks and similarly knows when he has to act, he acts. And we did not have much information as to what was happening or who was on board. Well, I'm not sure if I was even aware there was a prisoner that was being held and carried over or carried here, sir. We acted in ignorance, and we apologize if we caused any inconvenience to you or your guards. But when something happens, we act.
It is not in our nature to sit by and allow attacks to go unpunished.
Better sustained.
But it would have also been nice to have some evidence of who these people were. I'm sure you all have been aware there are two fugitives who the city is looking for, and we have reason to believe that they are here in the city, or that they will be in the city. And my thoughts is they were trying to rescue one of their own from the ship, and now we have no idea if they were part of that crew, if they're dead, or if they're here.
Your Highness, I apologize. I've been living in a very rural town where it's just me on the farm. Can you fill me in?
Us.
You've been traveling.
Us on the farm.
He's never home. This is new for us.
Marital squabbles, I understand.
Yes, but Your Majesty, if I may so humbly ask, who are the fugitives, and why do you believe them to be involved in this? And who was the prisoner? I'll ask. I feel out of the loop, sir. Sire.
Linus.
I'm sorry. I've never met a king before.
He looks at you. You are very bold, madam. But I like that. You remind me of my wife. The king then mentions he needed that prisoner, as they think the individuals behind the attack are coming to the city, and this was how they were going to find them. He then mentions they are looking for Ajin and Dinestra, and offer the group two tasks. The first, being able to help find and capture the fugitives. The second is to resolve a conflict in the city of Aldemar, but the group decides to discuss the options presented.
Great. Yeah.
We need to.
That's why. So before we leave on this journey, we do still need to go to the station and go to Phyllis with the baking.
Also, really fast. Where is Mura right now?
Stables.
She's at the stables being well taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
I texted you, Sean.
I just keep collecting animal friends, and I need to.
Well, you're like, wait, do I have my ashes? I have to get my ashes now.
My side plots are not for the whole at all. They're just
I
personal.
love it. No, I love it. I love it.
No, Parker, and this is one that you've never been to.
After 7 years, I haven't been.
Correct.
Because this one's
so then-
this one's still up and fine.
Yes, this one is still up.
I think we need to take on this stealth mission. We just need to let the Everett's know because they were wanting us to help them collect a debt. We're going to be out of commission for a little while.
Well, and maybe we can say to the king, like, we understand this is time sensitive. We do have matters to attend to at the festival.
The king then tells them they need to take a custom protection system to Aldemar, created by Architect Prime, and they must not tamper with the device. The group starts to get a little skeptical and worried for their safety. They'll delete and install the device before anything bad happens.
And installing this device would invite Andes into this space where they are currently not welcome.
It would help to protect the tower.
By
In what way?
That's classified.
So, Your Majesty, with all due respect, if we're going to risk our lives for this, we would appreciate a little bit more information.
Well, what about 1,000 gold pieces?
That's not information. And if we die, the gold pieces don't do us any good, Your Majesty.
That is correct.
How about we consider the 1,000 gold pieces payment for services rendered, and we also consider the information our reward for saving the ship.
Make a persuasion check.
I come up with good ideas. I just don't know if the dice is going to let me do it, guys. Persuasion.
Nat 20.
Whoa! Got him.
Oh.
good luck, king.
Nat 20, Sean. What are you going to do about that?
The king then explains that Aldemar may join Tharos soon, and they are trying to stop that at all cost. So they can see how truly egregious the Tharosians are.
Your Majesty, I'm just going to ask, are we part of like a, surreptitious terrorist attack against our own city and it's they're going to think it's the Tharosians here? I'm just going to ask, since I rolled a nat 20 and all.
Gideon speaks up. Look, we do not like that we have to do this.
Oh my gosh, what if we agree to be a part of, guys?
The king then explains, because of the natural 20, that they are wanting to blame the Tharosians. But the kingdom is in serious debt, and the other mines are starting to dry up. The other spires are drying up. We are not getting as many gems from them as we thought, and unfortunately, the kingdom has a considerable debt that we have to pay back.
To who?
It's to the Everett's. We're part of collecting the debt. It's to the Everett's.
So, once the tower is down, we will be able to go and mine the tower and repay our debt.
Huh, that's interesting.
Is it the same task? This is just me asking Sean. Is this the same task that the Everett's are going to ask us
Yeah,
to do?
it totally is. It totally is. I'm convinced.
Wait.
I'm convinced.
Did the king hear me ask, who are your debts to?
No.
Can I ask that?
You can.
Who are these debts to?
Make a persuasion check.
Nat 20, baby. Nat 20.
Come on, Chris.
23!
What was the base number?
Like 19 plus 4.
The debt is with the Everett Bank system. They have heavily funded the production of the Andes, and I fear that if we do not pay their debt back soon, that they will try to seize control of the throne.
Oh, a coup, a political coup.
Fascinating. I see.
They decide to negotiate and set terms for accepting this dangerous task.
We have gotten a lot out of this, and we have some really good leverage here, and I think we need to just take this box and go
The
get
last
this
thing
right
I will say is we accept this task provided we can meet Architect Prime.
Is that the only thing you request?
And
Any other requests
now. Well, for sure, the 1,000 gold pieces. And
per person?
Can I ask for like protection for the Tharosian people, which they won't have
No.
if they're at war?
Yeah,
we're literally going to go sabotage them.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, we
talking
That's
about
not a question.
Can I-
Not a
Can I ask not a clarifying question? King.
Yep.
Why are
we
you
need
asking,
to stop talking.
why are you asking us to do this? Don't you have
I was curious about
soldiers,
that.
royal spies? I'm curious why you need us.
Because you guys were able to save a ship when nobody else was aware of anything going on, and not only that, but you left no trail of evidence. The king asked if the group had a name, but they needed to take some time and ponder this idea. They haven't given it much thought up to this point. As they left, Gideon wanted to speak to Elchrist. The two decided to meet at a tavern in a few hours.
a room over at the
Wait,
Wait, no, okay.
Okay. I was wondering, can I walk with you for a moment?
Absolutely. I was hoping to speak with you as well.
Look, I know we had some trouble in our youth, but I hope you know that I've changed. Now, as Archmage, it is my duty to protect all of Aslyria and her people. With that being said, I would love some time to discuss something privately with you, either before you go or once you return.
Let's use the night that we have in front of us. Let's meet tonight. Or I'm free now.
Okay, yeah, I do have some things to attend to, but if in a couple hours you want to grab a drink, there's a great tavern nearby.
I'll see you there. At the Great Tavern.
I don't have a name for the tavern. It's called the Great
It's
Tavern.
called the Great Tavern.
Called the Great Tavern. After that, the group then goes to Mercer's extravagant emporium, where Sophie discovers that Mercer dabbles in some unknown goods. They plan to meet that night and purchase the goods they need. This next interaction happened offline, but we find out that Mercer deals in underground and black market trade in the city, and he has items for sale, but he doesn't know if he can trust you all. So he decides to take some of his more high-value items and loan them out to you. He explains that if you do not return with the items, items, he will send people to find you and kill you if necessary. But he hopes that you will test these items, see how well they work, see if they are as valuable as he is hoping they are. And if they are, you will return them to him and maybe strike up a future working relationship. The group decides to take him up on that offer, and they get some very rare gem items. Elkhurst and Gideon then meet at the Great Tavern, while the rest met with Mercer to discuss that trade. He explains that because of the war, the Mage Circle has had to reside solely on the Mage Island and move the school there to protect the children.
Okay.
He's not out.
Well, semantics, I guess, but right. You moved the mage school. Okay, so sorry, I interrupted you. Continue.
Yeah, we moved the Mage School. We wanted to protect the students. We fear that if the Tharsians are really trying to attack the Spires, that they would come after anybody with magical abilities. So we want to protect the kids as we get them ready to try to protect their city.
And hiding away the students and all the mages in the mage circle, aren't you removing the protection that they would offer to the rest of the kingdom by isolating them?
No, I mean, each city still has its mage in charge of the city. But the High Mage Circle, they're teaching the children. For the
I just think of the day of the Gemspire attack and how needed all the mages were on that day and how you were able to protect people and the rest of our fellow peoples were able to.
Gideon then explains he is worried about protecting the young mages, and Elkhurst presses him to learn if he knows anything else. No, I don't think I hear his voice as much anymore, but he looks around. I'm curious, have you heard voices?
Voices?
In your head?
I think all mages do perhaps from time to time. Can you be a little more specific?
There are times when people have been reported around the towers that they experience some kind of voice. We've had some recently over the past few years inducted into the mage school, and they report that they've been hearing voices, and we are working to try to find the cause.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I was speaking to the new students earlier at dinner, and they all mentioned hearing voices that they couldn't tell where they came from. I assume they were hearing you speaking to them, but you're saying this voice is coming from somewhere else?
All of the students?
I can't remember if it was all the students or if one spoke up. I don't know them very well.
Did they say when they heard the voice?
While they were outside the tower, gathered around before dinner.
Interesting.
You've heard this voice as well?
Now that you mention it, I too heard the voice before entering the hall.
What did it say? Is it speaking explicitly or just you hear noises and whispers of something?
This was the first time that I've heard the voice. It said, this is the first time that I've heard the voice explicitly ask for you by name.
The voice was asking for me?
Yes.
What did it say?
I'm not sure exactly, but it is saying that you are the one that can help save everyone and bring the world back to what it is meant to be.
Gideon, I don't know what to say or how to respond. There was no other instructions or?
No, that's why I wanted to meet with you. I wanted to see, have you experienced anything like this?
Gideon, I did not hear the voice outside the tower. I didn't hear this message.
Elkhurst persuades Gideon into believing that he has not experienced a voice or a vision of any kind. And because of that, he wants Elkhurst to help and ensure that the tower will fall.
I mean, you ask anyone in the kingdom, we're not able to really identify what exactly happened between all these different attack sites.
Okay, look, I need your help. Will you help me save them?
I'll do what I can.
I need this tower that you are going to fall. My research seems to suggest that somehow, in some way, when the spires fall, they are connected to these visions. I believe if this tower falls at this precise time, another vision force will happen.
A new vision for who? For the mages?
For everyone. It's been reported that any time a vision happens, anybody who's felt the vision experiences a vision. The people who are closest to the tower, it's more intense.
So this is plans within plans. You mages have your own agenda outside of the king's and the debts that he needs to pay. You're looking to learn about the spires themselves and the visions that are coming from them.
Yes, we feel that there is something bigger at work here. And if you haven't experienced a vision before, I think if this tower was to fall, maybe it would invoke a vision for you and you would be able to help us.
You know I want to. I'll do whatever I can. I don't feel good about attacking these gem spires as long as you can promise me that we're finding a way to do it in a way that won't hurt anyone else.
Architect Prime has designed this. If it goes off as it's intended, it'll make the tower implode inwards and no one should be harmed. Based on the test that the Architect Prime ran, it should be perfectly fine.
I believe you, Gideon, but hear me. Okay.
Here's the thing. We need this tower to fall. We need to understand if this voice is saying that you are going to help save everyone, we need to understand why. And if you haven't heard the voice before, maybe this will cause it to speak to you. And if that happens, maybe we can figure out what to do next. But if for some reason you're not able to make it happen stealthily, I need your word that you will make sure that it happens no matter what. Elkhurst agrees, but tells Gideon anyone is hurt, or if it doesn't go as planned, he doesn't know if he's going to be able to trust Gideon again. They separate for the evening, and upon arriving back at the hotel, Elkhurst pulls Linus aside and tells her everything. But he keeps it from David and Sophie. The next morning, they awake. Do you tell anything to Linus?
I talked to Linus later.
Okay, so you guys wake up. It is a dark and gloomy day. The winds are strong. Storms are brewing on the open sea. Though the storms are forming, people are still moving in the city streets. You can tell this is common here in Avalon. You head off to the docks and you see Longwind and Jared dressed in all black. We'll say you guys got black cloaks too. It's fine. They greet you near the fountain of the docks. Longwind approaches you. Morning. We have the device loaded onto the ship. Are you ready to depart?
Hi.
Jared, how's Fluffy?
Fluffy's good. Gave him a nice bowl of milk today.
Oh, you shouldn't do that.
He's gonna crap all over your house.
That's not gonna be
Again, he's a stray. He doesn't really stay with me. He just comes and goes.
Oh, it's just a treat. Okay, as long as he's taken care of.
We will be using my personal skycraft. Follow me. You arrive at his private hangar near the twilight. You enter and see a small ship painted black. The sails are black. The metal is a dark pewter. The ship is seated for about 8 seats, but you notice a large crate with the sigil of Avalon on it taking up 2 of those spots. You climb aboard, and Ajin and Dinestra, you both have seen ships before. This looks like no ship you've ever seen. It's very sleek, smooth, but also small. This is a prototype. I've been working on it with the King's Builders to design a stealth craft for covert missions. We have only had time to test it a few times since the preparation for the festival has been underway. I advise all of you to strap yourselves down. You notice there's seatbelts affixed to each seat. Longwind slides open a cover next to his seat, and you notice a switch and a button. He looks at you, Ajin, and says, "Are you ready for this?" and gives you a wink as he hits the switch, and nothing happens. Jared, did you release the anchors? Jared looks down and hops off the boat, releases a lever, and gets back on. Sorry, sir. Longwood shakes his head, and before Jared latches his seatbelt all the way, you see 4 round plates lit from the water with chunks of gemstone in them. Dynestra, you recognize these gemstones, as they are the same color as the tattoo on your arm. Aldemar, here we come. He pulls the stick, and the plates turn to face the back. He pushes the button, and electricity pulses into the gems, and you're launched over the ocean at high speed. And this is where the story continues.